You guys, it has been a rough freaking week. I'm not gonna lie. I did not want to film today. It is gloomy out. I was pressed for time getting ready for the episode, but we're gonna have a good episode anyways, okay? Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Gabby Hour. My name is Gabby Giselle. I'm your host, and today's podcast episode, we are going to be telling the story of how I met my boyfriend, how we came to be. It's kind of a funny one. I've honestly debated a lot telling this story because so many times people can, things can change, circumstances. But like I said last episode, this man is locked in. You ain't got no more choices. I'm it, baby boy. So we're going to go ahead and film it anyways. But before we get into the episode, I want to talk about something that has honestly made me just so angry and upset and sad and disgusted about what's going on in the world and in our country. And I don't think I need to say this because I feel like you can tell by my presence online, the things that I repost, the things that I post. I feel like you can tell. But by no means necessary do I support any of what this administration is doing. I think it's an embarrassment and a disgrace to America, to the United States of America. Let's be clear on that, because this is not America. This is the United States of America. To the Constitution, to the Declaration of Independence even. Let's bring it all the way back to the American War on Independence against Britain, against an oppressive government who was deciding what religion you were to practice, who was taxing. And yet we stand here and we have a cult of people who are supporting blindly what is going on and the choices that this administration is making. And I find it, quite frankly, disappointing, disgusting, and just an absolute embarrassment to be categorized in the same group as these people, okay? Because as an American citizen, as a daughter of immigrants, better yet, I have no idea why anybody who actually believes in America, in the American dream, in what this country stands for, and what this country was built on, which is immigrants, could support any of what's going on, from us funding the literal mass murder and genocide and the starvation of children, men and women in Gaza, the kidnapping of innocent immigrants in this country, whether they're of legal status or not, whether they're citizens or not. It doesn't matter. They don't care. I cannot see how anybody who says that they love America and everything that America stands for can agree with anything that's going on. And so I just want to preface that. And I don't care if that offends you. I don't care if that annoys you. You can go ahead and click off this video and have a good day. Because one thing about me, I am the product of politics. I am the product of immigrants who came to this country. And I will not disrespect all of what my parents sacrificed to give me the lucky chance to be born on U.S. soil, which, by the way, I'm eternally grateful for, but that was not just luck. That was sacrifice, that was fear, that was risk that my parents took in order to get me to be born on U.S. soil. So if that upsets you, I don't give a fuck. Get out. Because I will never, ever, ever be quiet about things that are impacting my community. All week, I have been distraught. I've been upset. I posted a video today on TikTok that I didn't want to post. I wasn't going to post it, but I was like, why wouldn't I post this? I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, people are going to find this cringy. Like, I regretted even recording it when I recorded it. But you know what? Let the world, let the internet see how absolutely distraught our people are. And when I say our people, I mean American citizens and immigrants and people all over the world who are also disgusted with Trump's decisions. Just let it be known that I didn't want to post that video. And I said, you know what? Let them see what they do to me, what they do to my family, to my people, to my friends, to my neighbors, to my community. Let them see the frustration and the anger and the sadness that I hold in my fucking body. Because my entire goddamn life, I have been afraid of losing my parents at any moment in time. And look at what we're experiencing now. Little kids being ripped out of school. Little kids who came to this country and didn't even know that they were crossing a border. They won't know until they're older and they remember, if they remember. We're taking little kids out of churches, schools, hospitals, away from life-saving care. And some of you on the internet think that it's funny, and just know that hell is hot. Hell is very, very hot. And that's all I have to say. And like, honestly, I could talk about it all episode. And I thought about it, but I've just had such a week of like being sad over all this shit that I just don't want to waste any more energy. Oh, Mr. P's here. Guys, look, Mr. P is here. I don't want to waste any more energy on being upset or angry or sad about this shit anymore. Like, I need a break. So today we're going to tell a good story, a happy story. We're going to tell the story of how I met Mr. P's dad. Yes. Fun fact, I think I've said this before, but we thought Mr. P was a girl. And then one day he turned around, he had big balls. And then he started peeing on everything. And we had to go get his balls chopped. And ever since then, he's chilled out a lot. But he's still kind of he's our baby. He's our little menace baby. Yeah, isn't that right? My little menace baby. What do you have to say for yourself? Facts. I hate Donald Trump too. Anyways, so let me set the scene for you guys of how I got integrated with my boyfriend, how I met him, how this came to be. Because last episode, I talked about my friend Maddie. Love her. And she and I were friends with these boys that we called my sons. I talked about it in the last episode. If you haven't seen it, it'll be linked at the end of this episode, so go watch it. But he's creeping up on my computer. I just know he wants to click the button so bad. But basically, we knew these boys that we called our sons, which was basically just like a group of boys that I think that Maddie knew them because she worked at that kava bar, like I told you guys before. And they used to come in there sometimes and hang out. And that's kind of like how I met them. And I used to play in like the pool tournaments and different things like that at this kava bar. And I think that's how I met them. And one day, like, she was just like, hey, like, the boys are going out. Like, they invited me to come. Do you want to come with? And I ended up, going along. I wasn't a big, like, party with dudes kind of gal. I don't think I ever really have been because I know men. And I know that 9 times out of 10, they expect something else from you. But they were super cool. They were younger than me, obviously. Or some of them were, like, my age, but they were, college age. Wow, that seems so long ago. And I'm only 23. I turned 24 this year, though. Oh, my God, I'm so scared. I'm going to be in my mid-20s. Mr. P's just going to hang out with us this episode. I wish you guys could see him. He's just relaxing. He's just relaxing. Yeah. Does anybody else baby talk to their pets? I saw a TikTok the other day that was like, nothing icks me out more than people who baby talk to their pets. Sorry, that's my son. Do you not baby talk to your babies? That's my baby. He's so pretty. He's got like the cutest green eyes. Oh my God, he's going to distract me all episode. I have to stop looking at him. So they used to work at my boyfriend's dad's restaurant. It's kind of like a family-run restaurant. My boyfriend was also running the restaurant at the time. And then right when we started dating, he took over the other location. And that was kind of like his sole restaurant. And I'd met him before. I guess we had played pool together at some point. I don't remember that. But the interaction that I remember is that my friends, the sons that I was talking about last episode, they were working with him they'd gone to school for marketing or something like that, got a degree in marketing. And so they were helping him with marketing a coffee brand that they were starting through the restaurant, right? And it was called like FK and Good Coffee. So it's called fucking Good Coffee. And the FK stands for foster kids. And they do tons of work in the community and all these other awesome things that they do. So one day I walked into the kava bar because it was right next to my gym. And I left the gym and went in there to go get a drink. But before I stopped into the bathroom, and on my way into the bathroom, they were kind of like, oh, hey, like Gabby owns a business. Like maybe she can kind of help us. She does like all her social media or whatever. And so they had me like look at a website or like a flyer, and it wasn't very good. And I remember thinking that it wasn't very good, but I wanted to be nice. And I tried making some suggestions or kind of like giving ideas. And I remember I don't remember his face or what he looked like, but I remember just feeling like he was obviously annoyed with me or wasn't interested in anything that I had to say. And I'm kind of used to that as like a female business owner. When male business owners are like, they meet me, their first instinct is always like on absolute guard, of course. And they almost feel like my opinion is invalid. And so I was kind of like, oh, this guy's just probably one of those kinds of guys, right? Little did I know I was very wrong about that. But basically, him and we just had like that one interaction that I remember. Anything other than that, like I remember, this is funny. He actually was persistently asking my friend Maddie out to dinner. Like he was like, oh, like I'll take you here, I'll take you there. And she is not really into white guys like that. So she was like, I'm okay, thanks, And I'm going to tell you what, my man was on his slut era before we met. I ended his little slut era, okay? As far as I know. So anyways, that was I'd even eaten at his restaurant before. I talked about it last episode. And so he was kind of like a background character that I hadn't really unlocked yet. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he and I knew each other's circles, but we didn't know each other yet. And that September for my birthday, the kava bar was going to throw me a birthday party on my actual birthday. And then I had plans to like go out, go to downtown, go to this really nice place for dinner. And then afterwards it's like a shopping center area, and they have like bars and clubs there. So I was like, okay, we'll go there for my birthday. We'll go have a good time, go party. So that was kind of the plan, is to go to this like Mexican restaurant, get some drinks in us, get some food in us, and then go next door to the bars and the club or whatever and hang out there. And so before that had happened, our friend, or Jake's friend, Noel, I don't really know. This is like so strange to tell this story. Noel had cancer for a very long time. And unfortunately, he passed away this past November. And I don't want like pity or anything, because I just don't. It's really sad. And it happened at the same time as a lot of other things for my boyfriend. And so that's kind of like his stories to tell. I won't really get into it. But, he was sick. And Jake was kind of trying to show him a good time, trying to get him to move down here because he lived in Orlando at the time. And, he was trying to get him to move down here. He was supposed to move in with Jake and I after, we had already been living together or whatever. Or honestly, he was supposed to move in before I was even a part of the picture. But she had been talking to him and stuff, and they'd met a couple times, and he'd been going down to the bar, and he thought she was cute. And so they were texting and, chatting at the bar and stuff, and he'd come in on her shift, I guess, like this week before my birthday. And so she had invited him to my birthday outing or whatever. But on my actual birthday, it was a Wednesday, I think. Yeah, I think it was a Wednesday. They threw me a Bratz themed party, which was so nice of them. It was so much fun. Just all the regulars there who knew me, and then like my friends. My sister ended up coming, and it was just a good time. I dressed up in like a cute little Bratz outfit. I'll insert some pictures on the screen so you guys can see. I was a baddie, okay? She was a fairy. Yeah, she was a fairy. Oh my God, I feel like I can't get that remix out of my head. She was a fairy. Yeah, she was a fairy. Because I was getting my nails done. Oh my God. Tea for the nails. My nail girl's the best. You probably can't even see them, but it's okay. Sorry, I just got like so sidetracked. But basically, Maddie had been chatting up with Noelle and talking, and she'd invited him to my birthday party. And the day of my actual birthday party at the Kava bar, you know, Jake was on his way down there, not for my birthday or anything. I don't think he knew that was going on, but just cause. And one thing about my boyfriend is he is not the most organized human being. Okay. Love him. But he's the kind of person that's like, I'll keep it up here. I'll remember it. I don't need to write it down. I don't need to put it in a calendar. I don't need to put a reminder on. I'll remember. And mind you, just now he came home at 4:30 as I'm sitting down to film, and he's not allowed to be in the house as I film because it's weird to me to like sit here with my cameras and my lights, and then he's like sitting in the couch like watching anime, like cringy. And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna film from like 4:30 to 5:30, and then at 6:30 I have a Pilates class, which I'm so excited to go try out Pilates for the first time, by the way. But he was like, he literally came home and he was like, I thought you said you were going to go work out after work and then film the podcast at like 5:30. I'm like, no, we were arguing about it this morning. Well, I say arguing, but we were just like play fighting about it, about how he's not allowed to be home until after 5:30. Sorry, just paused for this giant garbage truck to pass by or whatever that is. I kind of like sitting up and back like this. This kind of feels good. So literally he forgot that I told him, or he needs to start writing things down. So anyways, my point is saying that about him, and as much as I love him, okay? He's the best. He really is the best. I guess he had a bunch of parking tickets or traffic tickets that he didn't pay. He forgot about them. I think that his like license had been suspended and he didn't know, because why would he know? Also important to note that like the year after this, there had been a really, really bad hurricane and Hurricane Ian. And so there was just a lot of disorganization in everybody's life anyways, but for him especially, because like I said, he owns that restaurant. They do a ton of stuff for the community. So during Ian, I promise I'm not doing anything promiscuous down here. I'm literally just itching a bug bite in my knee pit. But anyways, he was doing a ton of stuff for the community. So like he was just mumbled jumbled all over. And he ended up actually not realizing that his license was suspended or that he had tickets. And so on his way over to my birthday, he had gone pulled over in the parking lot. And I had a friend who walked in during my birthday party, right? Like after like the initial like happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's hanging out, chilling. And he walks in and he's like, yo, your boy Jake is getting arrested. And there was this other kid who goes to that kava bar named Jake. And I knew him from high school. And in high school, he got into a little bit of trouble. And he had seemed a lot more calm than I knew him now as adults and stuff. But I was like, oh my God, like he's going to get arrested. Like, let me go make sure he's okay. I was like, Jake? And he's like, yeah, Jake. And so then I'm like, holy shit. I grabbed Maddie. I'm like, bro, like, let's go make sure he's okay, whatever. So we're walking out there and he's like, yeah, like the guy who owns the restaurant. I was like, oh, I don't know that guy. And Maddie was like, yeah, you do. Like he owns, FK and, he's the boys' boss, like blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but I don't know him. Like, that's not my problem. So I just walked right back inside. Literally, like, I'm halfway in the parking lot. I can see the cop lights from here. And I'm like, oh, I don't know him. And I turned back around. And so I go back inside. I enjoy the party. And so I guess they literally wouldn't let him drive his truck home. Like, they were like, no, your license is suspended. You have tickets that need to be paid and this, that, and the other. And I guess he had to go get a new license like the next day. And so very important. Okay. Because again, just another time where we almost crossed paths and almost officially met and didn't, So I go back inside, have a great party. It was such a fun night, whatever. I don't see him that night. I don't know if he walked in there. I don't know if he was there at any point in time. I don't know. Not sure, not aware. And then comes Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Me and all my friends, we go out to dinner. Maddie's like, hey, Noelle and Jake might come out. Like, blah, blah, blah. And, Jake being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, he is doing very well for himself. She was like, at dinner when we were already at the club, right? So after dinner, she's like, hey, like Noelle and Jake are going to come. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, who's that? She's like, oh, this is cool dude. Like, you'll like him. He's from the bar or whatever. And Jake is the boy's boss. Like, you know him. I'm like, I don't know him, but okay, whatever. And honestly, at that point, I was already a little bit turned. So I didn't really care. I was just like, okay. And honestly, I was feeling kind of down because I'd had invited so many people to my birthday thing and a lot of people weren't able to come. So it was really just like me and like 4 dudes and Maddie. And I mean, we were having a good time. Don't get me wrong. It was such a fun time. My friend Maytov ended up showing up, but she is Jewish. So she follows like really seriously her religion, which is great. Love that for her. But she can't be anywhere until sundown or until like 9 p.m. on a Saturday. So she didn't show up until like 10:30 or something, maybe 11. But we were having a great time. We're dancing around, right? We're sitting around. The way that this club was set up is like you walk in, and when you walk in, the registration desk is like on the outside. And then there's like a pavilion that goes both ways around the bar or whatever. And so there's like a seating area all along the sides, like sections basically. And you can sit there or whatever. There was nobody. There was so early. I got a dinner reservation for like 6:45. So we were finished with dinner by like 8:39. We sat in the car, charged our phones, hung out with my friend Perkins. And so we were hanging out in the truck for a while. And then around like 9:30, we got out of the car, went out down to the bar. And we're sitting there and we're ordering drinks or whatever. And Maddie tells me this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like 20 minutes later, they pop in and she's like, yo, like, let him buy you drinks. Like, don't be the way that you are. Because me being the way that I am, especially when I go out and there's dudes there, I'm always the one who's like, no, I don't need you to buy me a drink. Because number one, I really don't. I'm also a business owner. I'm also successful. I have my own money. So I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. And she's like, seriously, like, don't be the way that you are. Like, just let him buy you drinks. He's really cool. So I was like, okay, cool. Sure. And so he gets there and Noelle gets there. And I remember being like, oh, he's kind of nice to look at, right? And I remember his eyes. I remember being like, oh my God, like he's got such pretty eyes. And because he's got like these really pretty green eyes. And me being like, I think I like him. But again, by this time I'd already had a couple drinks. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, but I was still kind of just like, whatever. And I don't remember. Oh, so then they show up there and I saw his eyes and his outfit. I never remember. He still has this outfit, I think. And he's wearing like a matching like shorts and like button down shirt set, like very Florida boy, beach boy, like pretty boy with his beautiful green eyes. Ugh, disgusting. And he shows up and he's like, hey, like you want a drink or whatever? I like shook hands with them and whatever. And he's like, oh, you want a shot? And I didn't think twice. I was like, Patron. He's like, oh, tequila girl. I'm like, yep. And so we take this shot. And I remember it tasted like water. And by this point, I think I'd already had an orange peel because where Maddie and I go, like I said, the first thing we order is an orange peel. I had like a vodka cran. I had 2 drinks at dinner. I had a shot at dinner. So I'm already like 6 drinks deep, okay? So I'm feeling litty titty. And it doesn't take much to get me going because I'm a small girl. You know what I'm saying? Especially then, I was really skinny back then. I was like 127 pounds. So like I was a tiny little baby back then, okay? And I was like, Patron. And so he hands me the shot. We take a shot together, whatever. And it tasted like water. And I was like, either they just put water in my drink because I'm already lit, or I'm already lit and that tastes like water. So I turned to Maddie, right? I'm like, oh, thanks, whatever. He's like, yeah, like, happy birthday. I was like, actually, it was on, I remember being like, having an attitude and being like, how dare you not know my birthday? I don't know this guy. And I was like, actually, it was on Wednesday. And he was like, oh, happy belated birthday. And I was like, thanks. And then I walked away and I go straight to Maddie because she was like right behind him at the bar. And I was like, Andrew just bought me a shot and it tasted like water. And she was like, who? And I was like, Andrew. I don't know why I got it in my head that his name was Andrew. But like to this day, if you look at my boyfriend and you told me that his name was Andrew, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like he looks like an Andrew. I don't know why. I don't know any Andrews. I've never known an Andrew in my life, like personally. Honestly, I don't even know if I've met one like in real life. Maybe I have, but I just don't remember. And so I was just kind of like, he looks like an Andrew. Like that's his name. I didn't even ask him his name. I didn't ask his name. Like I didn't, again, I was almost going to help him with the police situation 2 nights prior or 3 nights prior. Knew his name was Jake then because they told me, didn't care. I had met him before, like I said, with the whole coffee marketing situation. I think they told me that his name was Jake. I don't remember. And so literally still, the dude is right in front of me. And I'm like, I have no idea what his name is. So I'm like, Andrew just bought me a shot. She's like, who? I'm like, Andrew. She's like, Andrew? I'm like, that guy was there. And I was like, the guy you told me to let him buy my drinks. And she was like, bitch, like, that is not his name. I was like, oh, what's his name? She's like, Jake. I was like, oh, okay. So we were like giggling. And I was like, but that's not the point. I was like, the point is that it tasted like water. And she was like, oh, you're fucked. And I was like, yeah, but it's my birthday. I don't give a shit. I was like, you are going to have to play mom today because I don't know how I'm getting home. But we took an Uber, so it wasn't a big deal. Like I would just figure we were Uber back or whatever. So anyways, we're sitting there and we're talking. I'm getting to know Noel. Like I remember like he just seemed super like nonchalant or whatever. And I remember seeing him and Maddie sitting together and they were kind of like touchy-feely. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cute. And I don't know. Talking about Noel is kind of sad, but I don't want to exclude him from the story because he's very important to this story. But, you know, it was such a good time. We were dancing, like we were ordering drinks. Like people were buying me drinks because it's my birthday, right? And I'm like standing there like, like party. My friend Maytov gets there around like 10:30, maybe 11ish. And then all of a sudden somebody calls me over. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, oh no, we were walking to the table to go get our purses or something, or to like go get a drink or to sit down for a minute. Cause we were dancing like I said, we were there super early. So we'd been dancing with old ladies and like all my guy friends were dancing with old ladies. It was so funny. And so we're sitting there hanging out, dancing. We go back over to our little outside section table thing. And Maddie and Noel are out there and they're like, oh, like blah, blah. And there's a girl standing next to them, like a bottle girl. And she's like, we're getting a section. She's like, somebody got us a section. And she looks at me kind of like, you know who got us a section. And I was like, he got a section for my birthday? Like, I don't even know him, right? And he was just kind of like inside or whatever. And so we grab all of our things and we move inside, literally like 20 feet inside from where we were. We didn't have to get a section, but he was trying to flex, whatever. And so we're standing in this VIP area, and this VIP area, we're like the first people in VIP. So we're like at the front, because there was other VIP areas. Like there was like 4 booths up top, or maybe 3. And then there was like by the bathrooms in the back area. And these VIP areas are like, they're up like 2 feet off the ground. And so there's like a railing, very important to the story. And it's right next to the DJ booth. And we're in the front of the bar, right? So the dance floor is like in front of us. And we walk up, and I remember just being so lit already and like so high off of like the endorphins of like dancing and like having such a good time and like it's my birthday, like oh, and that I think I walked up to him and I think I just straight up kissed him and was like, thanks. Like, leave it to me, the most like not flirty with men person in the whole world. Okay, I'm not good at flirting with men. I don't do it. I refuse. I don't like men half the time. This man buys me a section with some bottles, and I'm running up to him immediately, and I'm hugging him and I'm kissing him. That's my man now. That kiss, claimed it. That's my man. And so we're hanging. So he kisses me back, of course, and we're like up on this railing and we're dancing and we're getting this crowd of people. And I guess according to him, he kept inviting people up. So then it was turning into a lot of people in VIP, and he had to keep buying bottles. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think we even drank 1 full bottle of whatever was on the table. At least I didn't. Okay. And because at this point, I'm already lit. I don't need any more drinks. And even when I'm drunk, like I kind of know when to stop. Like I know like, oh, I'm good now. Like I don't need any more. And especially because at this point, I'd already had so many instances, like the pizza place instance. Hello, English. Sorry, I don't speak English. Okay. I'd already had like enough experiences to be like, okay, I'm going to chill with this one. So we're dancing, blah, blah, blah. And him and I, we were doing some ungodly dancing on this railing, okay, in front of a crowd of people. I'm like hyping up these people. They're hyping me up. I'm dancing on him. Like immediately I was like, that's my man. That's my man right there. And so I'm like, we're dancing, and he was like such a fun time too. Like I remember thinking like, I just love that he's trying to keep up with me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I just love that like he's not necessarily trying to grab up on me, but like we'll dance separate, and then we'll like dance in front, like facing each other, and then I'll grab him and then we'll dance together. You know, like I remember having the thought of like, I love that he's actually having fun, and this isn't just like him trying to like seduce me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's actually having a good time. And so we're like dancing, and bottle girls come up. You know, we've got all these people up top. We've got all of our fans. Like I remember being like, I'm that bitch. Like I got all these people up here watching me. Like just absolute absurdity. Okay. And the night goes on, whatever. We're dancing, we're hanging out, we're taking shots, we're drinking. And around like probably 1 a.m. or something like that, maybe like midnight even. Maybe it wasn't even that late. But I remember him being like, hey, I'm leaving. And I was like, what? I was like, my man can't be leaving without me. Like, what do you mean you're just leaving? And he's like, yeah, I'm waiting for the check. Like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, are you coming? And I was like, I don't know. Let me go to the bathroom really quick. So, and mind you, I've never done this before. I don't know this man. I met him out. We do have mutuals, but I've never just met a guy out at a bar and like snatched him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I don't know, like we're going to your house and like, I don't know where you live. Like, I don't know who you are. Like, I thought your name was Andrew 2 hours ago. Like, baby girl, I don't know about this. Like, we were dancing, having a good time, and I don't want the fun to end, but I'm also not sure if I should go home with you or trust you. So I'm like, oh, like, okay, whatever. So, everybody's kind of like doing their own thing, like starting to leave, not leaving, like whatever, deciding. I pull Maddie aside and I'm like, come with me to the bathroom. Now, previous to this, I was on my period the week of my birthday, but it had stopped the day before. And my period, I don't know if all my girlies out there relate, but basically when mine stops, it'll stop for like one day and then it'll restart back up again as soon as I need it to not be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like as soon as I wear my white pants, it's like, oh, we're back for like 4 hours. And so I go to the bathroom. I'm like, Jake is leaving. Like he asked me if I should come with him. And she's like, you should. And I was like, do you think I should go home with him? Like, I don't know him. Like, I've never done that before or whatever. And she's like, trust me, like, he's a good guy. Like, you should go. Just go have fun. Like, even if you end up not wanting to do anything, like, he's not going to do anything weird. Like, promise. Like, he's super cool. And I was like, okay. So we go to the bathroom and I think, again, very turnt. So I can't really remember much. Like, again, there are like hours that are missing from my memory here. But all I know is dancing, lights, sweat, drinking. I remember we were like making out at one point. This is so trashy and embarrassing, but we're like sitting in this booth, like making out. And the security guard was like, none of that. And we were like just making out. And I was like, can't make out in the club? What do you mean? And I'm like, boy, we just spent $1,400 on bottles in a section. Like, what do you mean? And I didn't. And so I think I took out my tampon here, but I can't remember. Okay. Like I remember thinking like, oh, I have that tampon and let me take it out. But I can't remember if I did, right? At least not at the time. I think now it's a little clearer. And I'm pretty sure I did at that point. Like I had to have because it disappeared after this. I'll tell you why in a second. I'll tell you why in a second. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I go potty. I had like makeup wipes in my bag, I think. I was like wiping myself down. This is so embarrassing. I was like making sure Shawty was good to go because it was my birthday weekend. I had prepared, but I wasn't prepared for this. Okay. I didn't know, but I was just kind of like, just in case. Do you know what I'm saying? Just in case one of my sneaky links, I didn't have any at the time, but, so I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I walk outside. He's like paying the bill. He's signing this bill. And I remember being like, okay, like, let's go. And he's like, oh, you're coming with? And I was like, yeah. So he's like, all right, let me order the Uber. So he orders an Uber. We're standing outside. So like the way that this was set up, it's like in a mall almost. And so there's like a roundabout for where people get picked up at the bars right there. And it's like right outside the gate of like the outside part of this bar where we were sitting before. And we're standing there and I'm like touching up on him and like grabbing his chest and kissing him and whatever. And my friend Guy comes out. I walk up to him, I give him a hug goodbye. And I remember I looked over his shoulder and I saw my friend and I felt like they had like a thing going on. So I saw her and I was like, oh, gotta go. I was like, my man's over there. This ain't my man. Shawty, I'm out. So I kind of like let go of him and I was like, okay, bye. Like whatever. I hugged my friend and then he was like, oh, like it should be here. Like it's going to be an Audi. I was like, an Audi? And he was like, yeah, you think I'd take you home in any less? And now I think this is the part where I started to sober up because I was experiencing something I never experienced in my life. So the rest of this is pretty vivid. But we're standing there and he's like, you think I'd take you home in anything less? And I was like, as you should, period. And so we get there, so the Uber gets there and he ordered an Uber Lux because of course this Uber Lux probably cost him like $80 to get us back to our house, which was like literally 30 minutes away. And at this point I'd said goodbye to Maddie. Noelle was going to drive Maddie home back to her house or whatever. And he had driven there. So he was going to get in his car with Maddie and take her home or whatever. And so, so they were leaving like right at the same time as us, but they had to go get the car and like whatever. So we get in this Uber. Mind you, it is like a sports car. It's like an Audi something, not an R8, but something of that nature, like something beautiful. So our driver is like maybe as far from us as the camera is, probably closer. And we're in like the back seat of this sports car. I'm like sitting on his lap. And I remember being like, he's like, I can't believe I'm coming home with Latino mommy. Because that's what Maddie and I be saying. Once we get turned, it's like, Latino mommy. So he knew that's what I go by. And so I was like, yeah, like, blah, blah. I was like, you don't even know me. Like, you don't even know my last name. And he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, what is it? And like, ew, just so cringy in the back seat of this sports car with the driver literally like maybe 2 feet from us. And I'm like sitting in his lap and we're like making out and like kissing and like, bleh. Ew, so cringy and embarrassing. Like, oh my God, thank God I wasn't doing social media like YouTube back then because I feel like I would have vlogged this one. So we are like sitting there talking to the Uber, and I'm like thinking I'm flirty with him. I'm really just being weird. And then we hear Noel's car because Noel drove a Mustang, and I was like, what is that? And he like sped past us, and then he was like behind us, and we were like waving at him through the window or whatever. And I remember we parked, like the Uber parked, and right in front of me was Noel's car. He had beat us there somehow because he was speeding and our Uber obviously wasn't. And so he's parked in the front yard, like kind of on the side of the front yard. And I'm staring into the window and I see my friend Maddie, and she's sitting there. And I remember I was in like boots, but with like a skinny heel. So I'm like walking through this grass to get to Maddie, and she's like in the car, and she's like, blah, blah. And I remember like, she was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, this is so unlike you. And I was like, I know, like, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, okay, bye. And Noel had been staying with him, so he went into the house to get something and then came out. And I remember Jake finally walks me in, right? I think he had gone in before me, and that's why I walked up to Maddie. But he finally walks me in, and there was like kids in the living room. And I was like, what? You got kids? And that was my first thought. And then he was like, oh, these are not my kids. And then the mom, like, I guess he lived in a house with roommates. So like there was a mom with 2 kids, and they lived in like one bedroom, right? And the kids had like fucking shit everywhere and all this stuff. And I remember being like, I have to get my tampon out. I was like, oh, for sure. Like, this is happening, so I need to get my tampon out. So I was like, is there a bathroom? And she's like, yeah, like, it's right down there. So I went to the bathroom. She's like, oh, sorry. There was like a big-ass box in the way. I go to the bathroom, and I'm like fishing. I'm fishing for my tampon. And I had my nails done like this, basically. But I used to get only coffin. So, like, imagine my nails like this long, coffin, and I'm fishing for a tampon in my cooter. Yeah, it was rough. So I'm like, oh, like, I can't find it. Like, blah, blah, what am I going to do? I was like, I don't think I took it out yet. Like, blah, blah. I was like, all right, I just got to get out. So I wash my hands, go back out. And he's sitting at a piano with his, like, shirt, like, opened. And I walk over, and his, like, roommates are sitting there. And, like, one of them she's like pregnant, and she is like sitting there and just hanging out or whatever. And then, but I didn't know that at the time. And there was like a dude there, I think. And then like the older lady, who's like she had her kids there or whatever. She was like cracking open a modelo. She's like, all right, like I'm leaving. I'm going to my room or whatever. And I remember like when I came around the corner, like, and I looked to the left, and he was sitting on the piano, like shirt just like sprawled open, beautiful green eyes. I was like, that's my husband. I was like, I know damn well he was not sitting at a piano looking beautiful, hairy chest out. That's my man. That's my man right there. And I like sat on his lap, and he was like playing the piano for me for a minute. And he was like, okay, you want to go in my room? And I was like, yes. Yeah, actually I do. And I'm not going to tell you anything more but about the nighttime. But just know that I was like, I was sitting there, and, you know, we was cuddling and moving along. And this is so embarrassing. I remember being like, I have to tell him that my tampon might still be in there before he finds it in there, and it freaks him out. And I was like, maybe he's going to be like, oh, absolutely not. We're not doing this. And I was like, I just have to tell him because I will be mortified if he just finds it in there. Because like, I was like, I feel like he could find it in there for me. Like, low-key, I was prepared to let him fish it out. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was like, hold on. I was like, I have to confess. And he's like, what? Like, I'm sure that hearing those words, he was worried. Okay. And I was like, I was on my period this week and I'm not anymore. And I put a tampon in earlier today before I left the house. And I can't remember if I already took it out or not, but I tried to find it in the bathroom and I can't find it. And if I thought this man was my husband already, just listen to this. He hits me with the, I'm grown. I don't give a fuck. And I was like, oh, okay. Period, king, period. So I was like, oh, that's my man. And yeah, things happened. And in the morning, at like 3:30 in the morning, or like, no, I think it must have been like 5:30 in the morning. I hear him like on the phone. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, like blah, blah, blah. Whoever's on the other side of the phone is like yelling at him. And he's like, oh, like I'm on my way. Like just get the gravy started. Like I'll be down there in 25 minutes, like blah, 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 blah. And he's like in a rush and he leaves. And I was like, what the hell? And the night before he was telling me like, oh, like I need you to stay here until I get off of work. And I was like, what time do you get off work? He's like 3. I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And, you know, he was lit. So I remember waking up and being like, okay. I woke up at like 8:30. First of all, Benny, our dog, was at the end of the bed, like cuddling with me. And I was like, oh, I'm booty naked in somebody's house with other people living in it that I don't know. And I don't know where I'm at, actually. So I'm like, well, he said that he wanted me to be here when he got home from work. But I was like, he was drunk when he said that. Like, maybe he didn't mean that. I was like, he probably doesn't even remember saying that. Like, I don't think I can stay here all day. Like, I'm not going to just say, and I had like my cats and my dog and all this other stuff. So I was like, all right, I got to go. Right. So we get up in the morning and at like 9:30, I put on like his clothes or whatever. I didn't know where mine was at the time. And it was finally light out. I go to the bathroom. And I remember when I came out of the bathroom, there was somebody sitting on the couch. Like I saw the back of their head, which now I know was his friend Angel. But at the time I didn't know who it was. And I remember he kind of like, he was facing this way and I was behind, like coming through the hallway. And I could just see through like the kitchen area. And he hit me like with one of these, like he was kind of trying to look back and see me, but like he didn't want to be in my business. And so I was just kind of like, okay. And so I sat in the room for a little bit. I put on my clothes and I was like, this is embarrassing. Like this person knows I'm here now. I'm just sitting in his room. Like he probably thinks I'm stealing stuff. I was like, I just got to go. So I called an Uber. This is like the best part of the story. I called an Uber and I didn't call the Uber, but the Uber calls me to let me know that he's here, whatever. My neighbor is playing really loud music, and it is so annoying. It is shaking the entire fucking house, and it is so irritating because he does this multiple times during the week, and it is so irritating, like so irritating. Anyways, as I was saying, basically, the Uber gets there. I put my boots back on, whatever. I took a picture of myself, I remember, and I was busted. Like, makeup is gone. You can't see it anymore. Like, it is just, it's looking crusty for me. So then I end up getting in this Uber, and I remember I had this adorable, like, he was wearing like a fedora, like, or not a fedora, one of those hats that's kind of like the Peaky Blinder hats. Do you know what I'm saying? And he was driving like a black, like old Buick or something like that. And you could just tell, like, brother, he plays in a jazz band. Like he was definitely giving me good vibes. And so I'm sitting there. I get in the Uber and the Uber is like, oh, like, what area is this? Like, I've never been over here, like, blah, blah. I was like, brother, I don't know. And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I have no idea where I am. I was like, you know better than I do. I was like, it was a crazy night. I was like, I don't know where I am. I just need to get back to my car, which my car was parked at the Kava bar because we had all met there and then took an Uber from there to where we went, which was like 30 minutes from there. So he's like, oh, it was one of those nights. I was like, yeah. And yeah. And then so I left him a note. I'm going to insert a picture of the note because I think it's funny. But I sent him this note or left it there for him. And later that night, I think I ended up seeing him again at the Kava bar. And to be honest, the rest is just history. After that, we kept texting. I remember he kept showing up there. He baked me a pot pie from scratch and gave it to me and left it for me at the Kava bar for me to take home and eat. And I'm going to just be honest, the man cooked his way into my heart. Okay? Because that pot pie was so good. He hasn't cooked anything for me since. That's not true. He's cooked for me before, but nothing like that, like a pot pie from scratch or anything like that. But so much. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like maybe at a later date, I could get into all of like the details after we started dating and stuff like that. But for now, that's going to be it. Considering my neighbor wants to be an asshole right now and play loud ass fucking music that shakes the whole house. I think it's going to be time to go. This week, I do not have a yuck and yum. Honestly, the yuck is just everything that's going on with this administration. It's disgusting. It's degrading. It is angering. It's saddening. It is disappointing. And it feels absolutely horrible to be the daughter of immigrants. It feels absolutely horrible to be Mexican American. And I don't think that anybody deserves anything that's going on right now. I think it's absolutely atrocious. So that's my yuck of this week, actually. And I don't really have a yum. Don't really have a yum, but my yum is my man. Okay, let that be known. I love my man. But he is honestly, and I just want to give a big shout out to my boyfriend for being just the absolute best human being. He's had a really rough couple of months, and he continues to just be a really present and loving person, regardless of all the things that he's gone through. And I don't know, I hope that I can be just as good of a partner to him if I, sadly ever have to experience something even remotely close to that. And like, I'm really lucky. I love him. He's the best. He's like my best friend. He's the only person that I want to spend my time with sometimes, to be honest with you. Like, I have friends, obviously. I love my friends. But he and I are just so similar. Like, we just like the same shit. We like to be at home. We like to just kind of be chill, hang out. Honestly, since that night, we have not gone out like crazy on the town in a very, very long time. Like, even when we went to New York, like, we didn't get that crazy. So, that was kind of like our last hurrah. That was the end of his little hoe phase. That was the end of me being single for the rest of my life. So hopefully. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know down below if you guys met your boyfriends out in the bars, or if you have a funny story of how you met your partner, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your partners, whatever, because I would love to read them. And I hope mine wasn't too TMI and I shared a little too much. Maybe I overshared on the internet, but hey, it's now my first time. Do you know what I'm saying? One thing about me, I love to yap and share way too much personal information. So that's what I do sometimes. But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I think it was a little bit shorter than the normal episodes, but to be honest, I got a Pilates class to get to in like me checking my fake watch. I have a Pilates class to get to in a couple of minutes. So I'm going to go do that. And that's it. I love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.